sit at home and do what you need done, saving gas, saving time, coming to Roane County, we want to offer that to you. So just finding out more ways to better serve you, and I think expanding online capabilities is one of those.
Next question. What changes would you make to improve service and convenience to the taxpayers in the county clerk's office?
Like I just mentioned, I believe we should expand our online capabilities, cross-train our staff so that no one gets turned away, and I also think we should examine the availability of the office. I know we're open late one day a week. We also have satellite offices in different cities. I agree with those. I think they work. Working for the city of Rockwood on Wednesdays, I see a lot of people come in to get their car tags. I think we should examine that and see if we can better that. So I think it works, and I think we should make that better.
We do have online services for our renewals. There's not a whole lot else that can be done online. Maybe the marriage certificates, which we are looking into putting that online because so many people want us to mail them out and they get kind of destroyed in the mailing. So we are going to try to make it available, especially for our out-of-state people who need a copy. They'll be able to print it off on their computers. Keeping the equipment updated. We get our equipment basically all at the same time. I'm wanting to start changing out like maybe 2 stations at a time so that we can keep the computers updated and not have to spend a lot of money all at one time. We can spend a little bit here and there and keep everybody upgraded as we go. The office basically is in good shape. We just need to tweak some things, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Thank you.
Next question. If elected, do you intend to make any changes in staffing at the county clerk's office? You go first.
I have no reason to. The girls are trained. Nobody realizes how long it takes to get somebody trained to do that, to learn the guidelines that you have from the state. And our girls are trained well. As long as they want to be there, be courteous to the customers, have a smile on their face, and loyal to that office, I have no reason to get rid of anyone.
The staff in the current clerk's office does a good job serving the people of Roane County, and if elected, I would love to see them all not work for me, but work with me in that office as we strive to make it a better place for you, the taxpayer.
I think it's about time for the 90-second closing statement from each of our candidates. Since Chase Clem, you went first before, I'm going to let Beth Gage Johnson to give us her closing 90-second remarks.
Okay, like I said, I've been there for 35 years, worked under 2 clerks. Have always, my dad told me one time, especially after I got on my own, he said, baby, you're going to have to work the rest of your life. You better find something you like to do. And thank God this job came to me because I do like it. I like working with the public. Like I said, it's a good job. You get to meet new people. You get to see your old friends. You get to help people that are in a bind with some paperwork and don't know where to go with it. I've worked from the front to the back of that office. I started out the front window, typing a report, waiting on the window and filing. And Miss Marshall said, you know, you really like this, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. So I've kind of become the expert at the motor vehicle part of it and work well with the dealers, and our staff works well together. I'm a certified public administrator now, and I'm just asking, not for a position, I'm asking for my job, please. Thank you.
I believe that I'm the most qualified candidate for this job because I believe that I have the right experience that's necessary for this job. I have managing experience, budgeting experience, and organizational experience. We're a very heavily community-driven department where I currently work at, and that is what I want to bring into the clerk's office. I want to be community-driven. I want to be the customer first, the taxpayer first, and I want to do everything possible to better serve you, to make your life more efficient. Like I said, we expand our online services, we cross-train our employees, all the while making your experience with our clerk's office better. I believe also that I'm the long-term candidate for Roane County Clerk. I'll humbly ask for your vote, and I appreciate you all coming here tonight. Thank you.
With the two candidates for Register of Deeds start making their way to the front, Sharon Brackett and Mike Elmore. In alphabetical order, you have 2 minutes, each one of you. The first will be Sharon Brackett for a 2-minute opening statement. Begin our forum.
I'd like to thank the Women League of Voters for having us here. As he said, I am Sharon Brackett. I'm a lifelong resident of Roane County. I graduated Roane County High School in 1992. At that point, I went to work in the Register of Deeds office. After working in the Register of Deeds office for 14 years, my current boss decided to retire. At that time, I chose to run for the Register of Deeds office. And I was elected, and I'm now here seeking my 4th term. I bring 26 years of on-hand experience to the office. In 2008, I completed the Certified Public Administrator program. 2011, I graduated Leadership Roane County. 2013, I graduated East Tennessee Regional Leadership. I'm a member of the County Officials Association of Tennessee. I'm a member of the Tennessee Registers Association, also the East Tennessee Registers Association, where in 2016-17, I was honored to be named Register of the Year. I'm a member of the Roane County Chamber of Commerce, the Roane County Alumni Leadership Association, the Roane County Women's Executive Association, where I just fulfilled my term as president last month. And I'm here to ask for your vote. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Elmore, 2-minute opening statement.
Mike Elmore, lifetime resident of Roane County. I graduated Roane County High School in 1997. I then went on to Roane State Community College. I graduated there in 2000 and 2004. I'm a trainer. I was a trainer and administrative assistant at Roane State Community College, basketball team with the guys, and I've been there for 19 years. And I basically do whatever the athletic director does not have time to do. I do everything that he just don't have time to do. In 2005, he got thrown out of a basketball game, and I got to coach the rest of the game. Like 15 minutes left, we're down by 4, and we beat them by 9. It was against one of our conference teams at Cleveland State. I'm not a career-long politician. I'm just a regular working guy, works hard every day, and I just give 100%, and I'll be there, and I promise I will show up to work.
For our first question, you go first, Mike Elborn, because Sharon Brackett, in alphabetical order, went first, so you're going to go first. The question is, what kind of experience can you bring to the office of the Register of Deeds?
I can bring leadership. Will be there to work every time the door is open to the courthouse. I'll be there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., even though the courthouse don't open till 8:30. I'll make sure my office help is there and ready to work when the courthouse opens. And I'll make sure they stay late to make sure all the paperwork is finalized before the day is over. And this was a very hard worker.
Same question, Ms. Brackett.
Well, like I said, I've had 26 years on-hand experience. I worked as an employee for 14 years, and then I've been your current register for the last 12 years. I've trained all of my employees. I have 3 full-time employees. I have 2 part-time employees. I manage a budget of over $340,000. Last fiscal year alone, my office brought in $1.3 million. My office is a fee office, so I'm very familiar with all the TCA codes and everything that is required to record your property and take care of the office like it has been the last 26 years. Thank you.
The next question. You've heard it before. I am undecided. Why should I vote for you? Sharon Brackett, you go first.
Like I said, I have 26 years experience. And I don't know how much you realize how important the Register of Deeds office is. It's a very important office. Most of everybody works all their life to buy a piece of property and pay it off. And part of that is you've got to make sure it's recorded properly. You've got to make sure it's preserved properly. Is that something you want to run into? Is your deed being lost? Is it being recorded properly? Is it being taken care of? Air records go back to 1801. You know, not only my job is recording, but it's preservation. We have some very important records in our office. We have records where 7th president owned property and sold property. Thank you.
Okay. The records in the Register of Deeds office is everything is public record, all but military discharge and the title search. And then I went into the Register of Deeds office one morning about 8:30, and I checked on my own property where I live at. And there in the Register of Deeds office, it has my dad's name and my mom's name on the property. But I go to the county clerk's office, and it has my dad's name and my sister's name on the same property in the records. So I don't know why the records on the computer system at the Register of Deeds office is different from the county clerk's office. I just don't know why.
Next question, this is one from the audience. And Mr. Elmore, you'll answer this one first. Would you follow the example of Anderson County and other counties around the state in allowing direct electronic access to deeds?
Yes, I will follow the Anderson County electronics of these. Because right now, the computer system, the deeds are not scanned into the computer system. So if they had a scanner in the computer system, they can scan the deeds, and the deeds will be right there on the computer system and be up to date and be current. Right now, in the office, I don't think there is a scanner for the deeds or scanner for anything in the office. So I think the computer system just needs to be more up to date. But I think Anderson County, Loudoun County, McMinn County, they're all more up to date. The systems are more up to date. They're more current. I went in there and visited myself. And anything I had them to look up, they looked up for me and I gave me the right answer in 2 minutes.
First of all, the Anderson County Register of Deeds, we are on the same system. Our vendor is Business Information Systems, and our records are not online for public access for the mere reason a lot of those records have Social Security numbers on those. And I, for one, would not want my Social Security number out there for everybody to see. Now, if you are a title searcher, if you're an attorney, you can subscribe to titlesearcher.com. It's a subscription service, and they monitor who is actually accessing these records. And Anderson County Registrar's Office, you know, they're under, the taxpayers pay to have that online. And I'm not having the Roane County taxpayers to pay to put their Social Security numbers online. And I would like to reiterate, we are actually scanning documents in our office. We are online now. I mean, everything is computerized. And we scan the documents, we scan plats, and my time's up. Thank you.
You still have 15 seconds.
I'll get it next time.
Next question. Do you have specific ideas to improve efficiency in the Register of Deeds office? Yes, Ms. Brackett, you go first with this question.
Actually, I think my office runs great. I have great employees. There's always room for some improvement, but if I see that there needs to be an improvement, I put that in place. I think I think the office runs very smoothly. And I'd like to go back on before where Mr. Elmore commented that he went to the county clerk's office on the property. The county clerk's office does not have anything to do with property. It's the Register of Deeds office that deals with property. Thank you.
Mr. Elmore, same question. Do you have any specific ideas to improve the efficiency in the Register of Deeds office?
Yes. I think the workers in the office do a very fine job. And I think the efficiency is okay, computer system's okay, but they need better leadership in the office. They need somebody there every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to help answer their questions if they need help. And I did an audit myself, and Sharon here showed up at work 4 times out of 30 days. And that is real bad on my records. And I think they just need better leadership in that office, somebody there every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And do not show up later than 10 o'clock every morning. So they just need better leadership and better guidance.
Next question. And Mr. Elmore, you answer this one first. You're talking about, alluded to, what kind of changes would you make to improve the service and convenience to the taxpayers of Roane County in the Register of Deeds office?
what changes I'll make is the computer system. We give more public records to the citizens of Roane County. That right now, everything should be open in public records, all but military discharge and a title search. But everything else is public records. Like if you want to go and check on a lien on your property, the computer system should show if you got a lien on that property or not. And it should show the mortgage on it. And it should show how much is owed on that property and how much is not owed on that property.
Ms. Brackett, same question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question was, what changes would you make to improve the service and convenience to the taxpayers of Roane County and the rest of these offices?
First of all, my office runs efficiently. I'm sure there can be a few changes, and if that time comes, I will make those. As far as everything being public record, everything is public record, exception for military discharges. Title searches are performed by an attorney that is practicing law. We do not perform title searches. When you do perform a title search, that is to find out if there's any liens on the property. You just can't go to the computer and pull it up to see if there's any liens on one certain piece of property. That requires a title search. And when you look at these documents, it is not going to show how much you owe and how much you do not owe. It is not going to show your balance. So, but I think my office runs very efficiently. Thank you.
I think at this time, we have used up our time allotment for the registered deeds candidates, and at this time, I'm going to give each one of you 90 seconds for closing remarks to conclude this segment of our forum this evening. And Ms. Brackett, you went first with your opening statement, and Mr. Elmore, you go first with the closing statement.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank the woman voters, League of Women Voters of Oak Ridge for having us here tonight. And I appreciate your vote in this election, because I think we need someone here who will be at work every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the courthouse and do not take no vacation times, and will give you 100% in that office, will not be on a committee, and will just be there for you. I expect, my parents expect me to be at work every single day. And if I wasn't at work, my parents would whoop my butt, because my dad has stayed at his job currently for 50 years. And he's always believed in work, and he said you should show up to work. If not, you're not worth to be there. And I don't think you're happy there if you can't be there every day.
I would like to ask each and every one of you for your vote and support. Like I said, I've been in that office for 26 years. And as far as not showing up to work, we actually, internal controls, put in a procedure where we document each day what each person does in the office. We initial off on it. You're welcome to come in and look through that book to see how many days I've been there, and I have not. I would just appreciate your vote, and I humbly ask you for that. Thank you.
Now we have next the final candidates that are going to be on the program this evening at this forum. We have 5 County Commission District 4 candidates, which makes up Oak Hills, the Roane County portion of Oak Ridge, and also across the hill over Mahoney Road and down in Oliver Springs, the north part, I guess it'd be the northeast part of Roane County. We have 5 candidates here tonight. We have Charlotte Bowers. If you just go ahead and make your way up here to the front, take a seat. We got Charlotte Bowers, Thaxton T.H. Brown Jr., James W. Brunnett, Corey Jenkins, and Jerry W. White. And these candidates will be voting for 2. 2 of these 5 candidates are going to be representing District 4 of Roane County for the next 4 years, starting in September. I think it's September the 1st. Is that when they get sworn in? September 1st. But in alphabetical order, we are going to start down at the end with a 2-minute opening statement. Each one of you have 2 minutes for an opening statement. And first candidate is Charlotte Bowers. Charlotte.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. We greatly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for having us here tonight. I've lived in the Roane County part of Oak Ridge now for almost 43 years. My family moved here. My dad was a minister at First Baptist Church, so I'm the preacher's daughter. I graduated from Oak Ridge High School and came back here and raised all 4 of my children here. All 4 of my children have graduated from this high school, so people were asking me where things were and how funny these seats were. Well, I've sat in them many times. So, I love this town. I love being here. I moved away a couple of times, but always came back. I'm a member of the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club and the Altrusa Club of Oak Ridge and Oak Ridge Ministerial Association. And I'm a member of different organizations because I have a lot of friends in those organizations, and I enjoy being there. And I just like to be out in the community as part of my job, which is the executive director of Habitat for Humanity of Oak Ridge. Well, actually of Anderson County, but located here in Oak Ridge. I've been there for 8 years, been managing that office and working through a lot of different things. We've expanded our services during that time. We just finished a house up on West Outer and finished another house on West Maiden Lane. It's been a wonderful opportunity, but I think that that has really prepared me for public service in other areas, such as county commission, because I've had to work with, obviously, low-income families. They're the ones who are buying our houses, as well as the wealthy donors. Conservatives, liberals, a little bit of everything. So I think that has put me in a unique position to serve the public at large. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Thaxton T.H. Brown Jr.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Oak Ridge League of Women Voters for inviting me here. Thank the people for coming out. I'm a little bit hoarse. I ask your apologies for that. Why should I run for this office? Well, first of all, I've been representing Oak Ridge in Oliver Springs for the past 15 years. In the Roane County Tax Appeals Board office. 15 years ago to this year, Teresa Kirkham told me, she said, I need to talk to you. And that was at Terry's funeral. And I just realized that it's been 15 years since I've been in there. The board has done some good work. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I graduated from Oliver Springs High School. I served as Little League director in Oliver Springs Little League for 14 years. I went to Knoxville Business College. I worked for National Cash Register for 10 years. I retired from the plant with 30 years of service. I worked on the last nuclear power plant that was built in the United States in Texas and Augusta, Georgia. I'm not a public speaker. I can talk one-on-one all day long. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Next, we have James W. Brummett for a 2-minute opening statement.
He's at the committee meeting.
Oh, okay. Mr. Brummett's not here. Corey Jenkins then.
Kind of second what everybody else has said. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name's Corey Jenkins. I live at Southwood Subdivision here at Oak Ridge. One thing I tell people, first of all, I am a Christian. I'm not ashamed to tell people that. And whatever your belief, I encourage you to do the same. I am married. My wife is Heather. She works or is the assistant principal at Linden Elementary here at Oak Ridge. She's worked there over 15 years. Have 2 sons, Camden and Kaysen. Camden is Oak Ridge High School, and Kaysen is starting Robertsville Middle School. Education-wise, I graduated from Harriman in 1995, a degree from Roane State, and a degree from Tennessee Tech, bachelor's in organizational development and business management. Work-wise, I'm the general manager at Cumberland Utility District. I've been there over 20 years. I have experience in, again, organizational management, budget, finance, debt service administration, public utility management, public communication, customer service, asset management, maintenance on critical assets, working with state and federal agencies, funding-wise, stuff like that. Skill-wise, I try to live my personal and professional lives based off of servant leadership. One that has the willingness to learn, listen to others, communicates well with others, values diversity, one that makes ethical, educated decisions, and committed to the growth of others. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jerry White.
I want to say thank you for inviting us here tonight. I also want to thank Miss Renee Kelly. She invited us to her home for an outing, and I appreciate that. I met several of you folks there. I've knocked on your door again for the 2nd time, and you flashed your card in my face and said I met you at Miss Kelly's house. But I appreciate her, appreciate the League of Women Voters for inviting us here tonight. I want to start off by saying I'm not the Jerry White from Anderson County. So all the political signs that you see in Clinton and Oak Ridge and down into Oliver Springs that says re-elect Jerry White, his name is Jerry White. He has the same middle name that I do, and we were born the same year. But I'm the Roane County Jerry White that's running for commissioner of District 4. I began my career, I guess, in college and high school, and I worked in the Strip Shopping Center down here in Oak Ridge for Homer Kramer at Kramer Shoes, and I bumped into a few of you folks out there in the hall earlier this evening, and I remembered your faces from being there. I was fortunate enough, I was in the military. I joined the military in 1971, and I received an honorable discharge in 1977 with a Sergeant E5 as a recruiting officer. I was a chemical operator for West Coal Company, processing coal for the nuclear plants. And while I was there, I received my Q clearance, went to Y-12 as a security police officer for 25 years, on to K-25 for 7 more years, working for USEC at the Centrifuge Project. And now I'm currently with the Roane County government working for Jack Stockton Security on the 2nd floor of the courthouse in Criminal Court and General Sessions Court. I want to thank you again for coming, and I want your vote. I want to be the voice of you, the good folks. Take your opinions and anything that I can help you with to Roane County government of District 4. Thank you.
First question, we're going to start in reverse alphabetical order. So, Mr. White, you get the first question.
Yes, sir.
You get to answer first. This is a real simple question. Why do you want to be a county commissioner?
I just told you, I want to be the voice of the good people of the 4th District. I want to carry your concerns and your needs to Roane County. I'm sorry. Sorry, Brad. I want to be the voice that carries you. I want to meet with each and every one of you. I want to find out your concerns. I have enjoyed campaigning so much, knocking on your doors. Many of you folks, I recognize that I've knocked on your doors. You've been so kind to me. But I want to carry your concerns to Roane County, to make Roane County a better place for Oak Ridge and Oliver Springs.
Next, Corey Jenkins.
I've always had an interest in local, state, and federal government, and like a lot of my decisions, it's based off of timing. With the unfortunate passing of Steve Kelly in February, commissioner that lived here in Oak Ridge, a huge voice was lost. And after first getting the blessings of the Kelly family, I kind of decided now was the right time. Kind of in a unique situation where I've got a vested interest in both Oliver Springs and Oak Ridge. One being my home, Oak Ridge, and then my customer base in Oliver Springs. Now, I talked 2 weeks ago in Oliver Springs, and I asked Jerry to put me a shield up when I mentioned I was a manager coming utility, you know, in case something got through at me there. So, but something I've always been interested in, and you know, timing's right. Thanks.
Could you repeat the question?
Question is, why do you want to be a county commissioner?
I don't know. I spent 15 years as tax appeals board, and now I'm the chairman. I've worked hard trying to equalize the taxes for the homeowner. I've got some ideas. I got one idea, and it's not an idea, it's public, but it's not being advertised. I want it to be fair for everybody, especially the kids. I'm concerned. And to answer that question real solemnly and slowly, I care about the county. I've lived here all my life. Thank you.
Well, not to be outdone, Jerry stands up, so I'm going to stand up too. I want to be a commissioner because I have a vested interest in low-income families. I've been working with the families at Habitat for Humanity now for several years, and I'll be honest, I haven't always been as nice as I am now. I've learned a lot working with these people. I really have. It's hard to understand the lifestyle that we're not accustomed to. You know, we're so middle class. We just don't think about it. And when you work with families who don't have the experience or the opportunities, and of course not the money that we have, it just hits home. When you sit down with these people and you work with their budgets and you realize that what seems so simple to us is just not that simple. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me recently is the conversation about the wheel tax. $50, big deal, right? Big deal. But when you are living on $250 a week, that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. $50 is a budget buster for these people. Property owners, we pay these Roane County property taxes, and I've heard several people say that we're some of the highest. I'm not really sure where they're getting their information. We're right in the middle, just right dead set in the middle. So not that we really want to have higher taxes, but a little bit higher, it's not going to put us out of some crazy range. So we'll just have to see how things pan out, but at least property taxes are equitable. Thank you.
Next question, and we'll start at the other end of the table, with Charlotte Bowers going first. But if you are elected a county commissioner, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to make decisions on, being one of, what is there, 16? 15 Roane County. But what what would be your highest priority, job priority, if you get elected for the 4th District of Roane County? What would be the thing that you would be most concerned with trying to get something done about?
Well, the biggest concerns right now are obviously the school consolidation. I guess really just what affects the county as a whole. Oak Ridge is we're kind of out of the way of these things. Our children don't go to their schools. Our taxes are affected though. So I really want to look out for what it is that affects us, and which does include Oliver Springs. There's not as much that affects us as does a lot of the people in Roane County, but when you're talking about a conglomeration of all the taxes, it does affect us. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on those things, and I want to be your voice to share with the rest of the commission how we feel about things as a whole. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, same question.
And that is?
What would be your highest job priority if you get elected?
My top priority is children, and it'd be the schools, the school system. You don't have industry in here because the engineers will not allow their kids to come in to a school system like this. This is what I've heard now. This is strictly gossip. If you don't have the education or system for these kids, you're not going to get the training. You're not going to get the people in here for big businesses. There is one thing that I'm going to bring out now that I think I might be out of bounds, but there's one job that the trustee needs to be aware of, and that is freezing taxes. That $50 that Ms. Bowers was talking about, people can freeze their taxes. It started out at $20-some thousand total income. Now it's up to 30-some thousand total income. They can freeze their taxes at that, and they won't be raised until they sell the house or give it away or they pass on. But it needs to be looked at, and that's one of the main priorities is the school system and industry in Roane County that I would put forward an effort.
Kind of follow up to what you just said. The school plan that they are proposing, I'm kind of leaving right now because my kids are in Oak Ridge schools. And I know what a strongly supported school system that supports every kid can do for a community. For example, look at the growth in Hardin Valley. New school system, exponential growth there. Roane County will not see the industrial growth until these schools are updated. That is school curriculum, the STEM. My kids started in the STEM curriculum at elementary school. They started in middle school with robotics, engineering classes, stuff like that. That's real world training that's needed. The schools do need updating. And I know from experience, from interviewing people, I can tell when somebody's been through a quality school system like Oak Ridge, Maryville, versus a Roane County or Morgan County. I mean, it's sad to say. But it is what it is. There is a direct correlation between school system and bringing industry in.
Okay, Mr. White.
There's been several people spoke tonight on the school and the overcrowding in our jail. But I tell you what's near and dear to my heart, and that's some drug education, some counseling, and some rehab. I work first-handed in the courtroom, in the criminal courtroom, in the circuit courtroom every day. And I see those folks, and there is overcrowding in our jail. But folks, those people need some help. They need some counseling. They need some rehab. They need some education. And it goes all the way back to elementary school. The education needs to begin there. because the drug problem is real. It's real in Anderson County, it's real in Morgan County, as well as Roane County. And I think that would be one of my top priorities, is to educate and find folks some help, some rehab to their drug addiction.
Since you brought it up, Mr. White, we'll just start with you with this question.
Yes, sir.
What ideas do you have about what can be done about the jail overcrowding and its expected skyrocketing cost?
My father stopped the newspaper man when I was 10 years old, and he helped me get my first job at 10 years old. I don't think there's anything, and I think it would alleviate some of the problem in the Roane County Jail right now if there was more of a workforce and people were put out to work 8 hours a day instead of being in an air-conditioned building where there's a color TV playing all day long. That would solve some of the problem. But right now, this Monday when we went to court, I asked the officers that brought the inmates over, I said, I'd like to know what the numbers are today. He said, today I have 306 in a 150-man bed facility. Roane County does need a new jail.
Same question, Mr. Jenkins. Any ideas what we done about the jail overcrowding and expected skyrocketing cost?
No doubt there is a jail overcrowding issue in Roane County. That's been going on for years. The proposed plan for building a new jail, I believe, is around $5 or $6 million. Talking with the county executive, that is very doable within current year and the next 2 or 3 years' budgets. As far as nonviolent, criminal offenses, I would be in favor of increased ankle monitoring. I believe the cost of that's about $10 a day versus housing an inmate at $40. So I would be in favor of the kind of increased ankle monitoring program.
It is true that the state does reimburse the counties for housing these criminals, these lawbreakers. That needs to be addressed. We do make money on it, and it helps pay off debts. But does it put us in a bind to where we're breaking the law by overcrowding us in our system? When I was growing up, and I am a little bit older than anybody on this board, but they called it a certain thing, and it was called a chain gang. You put these people out working where I was going along with what Corey said about them staying in air conditioning and watching TV all day long. You put them out there on the road where people can see them and in those yellow suits to where that they have broken the law, and let them stand up and be counted for. That was my thoughts and mine alone. Thank you.
Well, I don't know that I have a whole lot to add to all of that. I agree that the ankle bracelet system, chain gangs, those kinds of things, those are great ideas. My biggest concern right now, though, with the jails is I did hear at the commission meeting the other night that there are just beds for 40 women and 100 women in there. That's a concern. So, yes, we probably do need to expand it somewhat, but I think that there's a lot of good ideas out there. And I totally agree with housing these criminals just for the money. I don't think that that's necessary, especially if we're going to spend so much more money to build a bigger jail. So, thank you.
Next question. If you get elected, you're going to be one of 15 people, the ones of you that you get elected, going to be 2 that will be commissioners from the 4th district. Be one of 15 people. And it's going to be something that at some point, probably going to decide on what you want to do. And I've heard positions pro and con. But what is your position regarding the new consolidated high school that's being discussed in Roane County? And we'll start, Ms. Bowers, we'll start with you.
Right now, I think that the proposed plan is quite pricey. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think there are other ways to accomplish some of the same goals that they're trying to accomplish at a lower price tag. That's my opinion at this point in time. That could change over time, but with the proposed taxes that they're talking about, that's just a lot of money to put into something that really could probably be settled for less money. You know, there have been many other ideas thrown out there that I don't know that have been explored quite as well. Multiple campuses, the use of some of the buildings that they have now. People talking about they're already sending their child an hour on a bus to school, and that's going to increase if there's just that one for those 3 cities. Right now, with the proposed plan as it is, I would have to vote no.
Mr. Brown?
It's a hard decision. But what kind of decision is there to make? I stood in my front door when I was around 4 or 5 years old and watched the schoolhouse burn in Oliver Springs. That school is over 50 years old. Also, the one in Rockwood is pushing over 50 years old. What kind of a price tag do you put on to educate our children? On an average of $250,000 house, the taxes would be raised for an average family or an average house somewhere around $200. Now, if you take senior citizens and freeze their wages, let them freeze their taxes, and they can't raise them no more, you take them out of the equation. So put yourself in that decision, that place, and just think, is that too much? What is too much for an education for our kids? Thank you.
Roane County is being backed into a corner for something that should have been done 15 or 20 years ago. And that's improving the school system. Again, I know from experience what a quality community-supported system can do for a child. I do have 3 questions about the proposed plan. That's kind of the logistics of the combined high school, Rockwood, Kingston, Harriman. Effects on the debt service for the county. And then a surplus property plan. You know, what are they going to do with the schools that they close? The buildings, equipment like that. You have no choice if you want to bring industry into the county, but to support the schools. Direct correlation there. Again, you're being backed into a corner where you have no choice but to vote in favor of a school system if you want to bring industry into the county.
If the election was denied and I was elected for this position, I would have to vote no for the consolidated school because of the funding, the tax increase, the wheel tax, whatever the money's allotted for. I'm against that consolidated school. My wife, sitting on the 5th row back there, and myself, we graduated from Oliver Springs High School. I have 3 children that graduated from Oliver Springs High School. Right now, I have 8 grandchildren that are coming up that are scattered across Roane County. The majority of them are in Oliver Springs. I'm proud of the town I live in, and I don't want to lose our community school. And it's because of the funding and the money that I would vote no against the consolidated school.
We're coming up on half an hour, maybe a question or 2, and then let's start.
Okay, our next question. This one is I wasn't aware of what's coming down the pike, but somebody has a question for you county commissioners. Roane County's best natural resources are waters. What are your plans about invasive species, especially the silver carp that appears to be on its way? Brown, I mean, Mr. White. Mr. White, excuse me.
The Roane County, Mr. White.
Roane County, Mr. White.
Listen, if you live in Roane County, everybody fishes. I say take care of what we've got. We have beautiful lakes, beautiful waterways. Roane County's a beautiful place to live. The Oak Ridge side is just as beautiful. But there's a lot of fishermen in Roane County. I say take care of what we've got.
I think this is a question, maybe for somebody more qualified, maybe TWRA, what their plans are, seeing what, other states are doing, counties are doing. I am aware of the carp issue. That is the flying carp that you see on TV. But maybe somebody else more qualified could answer that question.
The only thing that I know about the carp situation is if you catch one and you catch a bass fisherman out there fishing and he sort of snoozes off a little bit, you tie it onto his boat and let him take it into the dock. There is a recipe for cooking carp, bacon or whatever. You get you a pine board. You fillet that sucker. You put all the trimmings on that fish. You put it in the oven at 450 degrees for 30 minutes. You take it out, throw the fish away, and eat the board.
Well, this has turned into quite the comical question. I agree that I don't know enough about it really to speak, but I did used to work at the China Palace when it was out by the lake, and they used to catch the carp, and they would throw them live into the fryer, and when it would come out, it was bent like that, and they had this really hot orange sauce that they would put on there, so that's just another recipe for you.
Just let the carp come on. Do you think the DOE contributes their fair share to both Roane County and Anderson County? Do you think DOE contributes their fair share in tax revenues for what they do in both counties? Ms. Bowers, you start first.
Okay, DOE specifically?
DOE, do you think DOE, Department of Energy, contributes their fair share as far as tax revenue for the counties and municipalities of both Roane and Anderson, especially Roane?
No, I'd have to say not really, honestly. I think that some of the tax that were cut back on a while back, they should probably put more into it than they have been for a while. There's a lot of money out there, and they contribute to a lot of things. I think that they could actually put a little bit more into it. Obviously, we need a little bit more money in Roane County. We're constantly trying to put that burden on individuals, so I think the burden could be shared a little bit more, not so much with the individuals.
Mr. Brown?
I think they need to contribute more because how long have they been here? I don't like to, or Oak Ridgers don't like for me to say this, but when I worked for National Cash Register, I used to have fun with those little cashiers. Because did you all know that Oak Ridge is a suburb of Oliver Springs? Listen, that's the truth. Everything that it took to build Oak Ridge came through Oliver Springs. So does that not make Oak Ridge a suburb of Oliver Springs? No, I don't think they still pay their fair share because I think in the contract when they built K31 and K33, the deal was when they get through with it, it goes back to grass. I drove by there a little while ago and guess what? It's going to grass. They took the concrete up. but the areas, they did more damage around than what is publicized. But they need to fork out some more money. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins?
I do agree that they could give more. Deep pockets could always give more. But dealing with the federal government's a tricky issue. Based off of the number of workers that they employ, and the amount of revenue that they bring in for the county, no doubt, the money's there. So short answer, yes, they could give more.
No, I don't think they contribute enough tax money to Roane County. If you attend any of the county commissioners' meetings in Roane County, you'll find out that Mr. Woody and his office are always giving a report of how much more tax money we need to receive from DOE.
We're not finished yet, we're not finished yet. Rules are no clapping until they all have finished. But it's getting a little bit late. I think you have had an opportunity to hear each one of these candidates. And as you form your opinion over the next 2.5 weeks till Election Day, we just want to say thank you to all of you candidates who have placed yourself on the ballot and are making the sacrifices of yourself and your families to be a public servant and to be willing to serve the residents, the citizens of Roane County. But at this time, I'm going to give each one of our 4 potential Roane County Commissioner candidates. I'm going to start in reverse order. Mr. White, you have 90 seconds, which is a minute and a half. For final.
Let's get this straight. I am the Jerry White from Roane County. A lot of people have asked me, what does a commissioner do, or what do you think of a commissioner? Mr. Steve Kelly was the perfect example. His heart and his soul was all about Roane County, and he gave 110%. When he came to the meeting, he had researched all of his paperwork, and he knew what was on the agenda. That's the person I want to be. Anytime that I had any event in Oliver Springs, meetings, school meetings, historical society meeting, I called Mr. Kelly, and his wife showed up because they were concerned about the entire 4th District, and I appreciate that. So that's who I want to be like. I want to be your voice for the Roane County Commissioner of the 4th District. Again, let me say thank you for allowing us to be here tonight, and I want your vote as County Commissioner.
Again, thank you for opportunity of being here. Business has changed over the past 10, drastically over 20 to 30 years. Organizations are having to increase their operational efficiency, the way they run, because of limited resources and finances. Local governments are no different. Based off of my management experience in dealing with those issues in education, lessons learned, I feel that justifies my qualifications for, running for county commission. Adding to what Mr. White said, Steve Kelly was in it for the right reasons. I hope to be like that as well. Huge voice was lost there. And again, I got the blessings from the Kelly family first, before running. Thank you for the opportunity, and I would appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters in Oak Ridge for asking us here tonight. I would also like to express my love and my thanks to my wife. Our 4 kids and our 9 grandkids. 2 of them were in the Oak Ridger this week, their pictures of going through the K-14. They're both enrolled at UT. The system will work if we let it. If I'm elected to this position, I want to be your voice, but when I was a deacon in First Baptist Church in Oliver Springs, I had 5 people I could go to on certain problems, certain questions that I could ask their advice. And I also want that same thing if I'm elected in different areas of District 4 or any other question or answer that someone may give me some advice. Thank you very much. And I am a Christian too, and I love the Lord. Thank you very much, and you all have a safe journey home.
Well, as the last person to speak tonight, thank you all again so much for coming out. We appreciate you. And we've all said pretty much the same thing. We want to be your voice. I know a lot of you personally. I've lived here a long time. I know probably half the people in this room by name. And when I go door to door, I'm surprised I didn't even know where a lot of these people lived. I go up and they answer the door, and I'm like, oh, how are you doing? So it's been a very interesting 43 years living here, and I've loved every minute of it. And if you saw one of my green cards, I love the people here. I love the area. I'd be my honor to represent you. Be my honor. So as a lot of people have also said, I'm humbly asking for your vote. Thank you so much for having us tonight.
At Ciderville Music, we have Martin guitars for everyone.